I was trying to write a song, couldn't figure out what to write. I was struggling, and I called Martha, my wife, on my phone. I have nothing to write about. She was like, well, you need to write about something that means a lot to you. And at that time, Julian, my son, was on us for like a year straight, wanting to get baptized.
Julian has always been a very spiritual child. And one of Julian's special things about him is that he's very spiritual. Another thing about Julian is he very strongly dislikes doing, at that age, anything with a pencil. He didn't like coloring, he didn't like drawing, he didn't like writing his name. And so I walked into the playroom one day and he was drawing. So naturally, that got my attention.
He had drawn a picture of an angel or Jesus holding him as a baby.
And I actually have a picture of it for you to see. I thought I knew what it was. It kind of freaked me out a little bit because he was 4. He could barely, talk. I said, Julian, what did you draw? And he said, oh, that's Jesus holding me as a baby. What are these things on him? And he said, oh, that's angel wings. In heaven, Jesus has angel wings. And it honestly took my breath away because we have never talked about, we've been in church, but that was really before any of this ministry and music was happening. So at that point in our family's lives, we weren't talking about it on a daily basis. And so for him to come out and say that was like, whoa, like where did this come from?
And he kept on and on. We were like, he's 4 years old, he doesn't know what baptized means.
I said, Julian, where did you get that picture of? And he said, in my mind, I saw this happen. And I said, well, how did you see that happen? He said, well, before you had me in your tummy, Jesus was holding me. And that's like biblical. Like it said, I think in the Bible, it talks about how Jesus knew us even before we were in our womb. And so I had never told Julian about that Bible verse. And he had visions of Jesus holding him in heaven before he was even born. I think the world we live in is so broken, and we get so weighed down by that as adults because we know and we live it. But there's something so magical and pure about a child and their faith. So a few months after he drew this picture, we were laying in bed one night, just me and him, and he looked at me, and again, he's 4.5. He was almost asleep, and he sat up and he said, Mom, I want to get baptized. He hadn't seen anybody else get baptized. So it wasn't like he saw somebody and then he was like, I want to do that. Like he had never been around it. He would ask every day, Mom, I want to get baptized. Mom, I want to get baptized. And I kind of disregarded him. And finally he got to the point and he was like, Mom, I want to get baptized. And he looked at me with so much authority and he said, no ifs and buts about it. I'm not talking about it anymore. I want to get baptized tomorrow.
He knows so much more than I did at that age about the Bible. Like he can tell you Bible story after Bible story. Is nuts. We're like, Julian, you tell us what being baptized means. And he said, that's when Jesus comes and lives in your heart.
And here I have a little boy who had visions of Jesus holding him and knows God he'll tell me things about God and knows him on such a personal level. Who am I to tell him that it's not right? He's not old enough.
And he kept saying, I want to know him, I want to know him. And so I just started writing down everything I'd heard him say. And it just like came. It was like boom, boom, line after line. It was really fast. I think as Christian parents, our greatest goal is to spend eternity and to know that we're going to spend eternity with our family and our children. And to me, when you got your your 5-year-old son knowing how much he knows about Jesus and knowing that, you got a good chance of living with him forever it's a pretty awesome feeling.
One of the top 5 moments of my life is seeing Julian raise up out of that water that day. And he was just so, he was so excited. He just raised his hands up, and he was like, cheering, like victory, like, yes. And his face just glowing, like he was just so exactly how we should all be when we get baptized. He was just like, yes. It was the best thing ever. And Nash playing at the same time, just a very special day.